Huh?
Hey,
Well, hey, welcome everyone. Suck up those tissues, have a drink. Sorry, but it's important. I know, cried in my coffee this morning. Damn you, Birdman. Damn you. But that was awesome. I love it. I support the message. I support the message. Everybody out there knows I do. We're going to keep saying it. Enough is enough. We have the support of people around you, So no one is alone. And we're all together right now. Yay! We're going to do one episode this month of Black Mirror. We're going to do, right, Josh? Striking Vipers. The most controversial, turn me upside down. I don't even know what to talk about first episode that I've come across. Because, some of you have been with me on this ride since way back, and we stopped around November, I guess, the end of October, November. So I don't know the exact date. So that, I'm a Charlie Brooker fan. He's always trying to say something. He's creatively genius. The way he writes it, he's sneaking all these shit in here all the time, and I love creative people who make me think. If you can make me think, you got me. I'm a fan. I'm there. I'm gonna shout you out. I'm gonna talk about you. And Brooker, as pissed as he gets me, as pissed because he does, Charlie Brooker, he makes me think, and then he brings me up, and then he slams me on the floor, and then he puts assassin cyber bees up my nose and terrorizes me for that episode. I don't know if you saw the playlist, but I'm relating to Gretchen in the chat because she knows what I'm talking about. That was messed up. He flipped me out with that stuff. But I do love Charlie Brooker, and I'm hoping. Was this your first episode? Was this your first time watching Black Mirror in general, Josh? Or
no? It's been a while since I've watched Black Mirror, but I used to I don't know, because I used to have Netflix, so I sat and watched. It came up as a recommended one time, and I sat and watched the episode. I don't know whether you covered it yet, but the episode where you had the female, and it was all about social status. And
oh yes, that's Nosedive. Yes, that's yes, we covered Nosedive. There's a playlist. I believe it's linked below. If I didn't, I'll be checking later, because as I noticed, it's been so long since I'd done a Black Mirror. When I came in, I didn't have my intro, I didn't have my outro, I didn't I'm like, what? Like, 10 minutes late to my own stream. What?
Whoops. But no, like I watched. That's how I got into it, and I was like, oh my god, like, the writing is like superb, and it makes you think about like,
yes, there's always a message. Yeah, there's always. So for those of you watching later, and for some of you in the chat that are just graciously here because you just can't get enough of us, we're like, it's okay. No, I'm just teasing. I know we do. We actually do. But in case you didn't see the episode, do you mind, Josh, if I just give him a little synopsis, and then we're just going to get right into it and get into the meat and bones of this? Okay, so Striking Vipers is about two college friends. Okay, Danny and Lance. They kind of like it kind of opens up. They're getting back together at a birthday party. They haven't seen each other. They used to be gaming buddies. They knew each other when Dan, I think, married guy is Lance, right? When Lance met Theo, which is his wife, and everything, they're all together and shit. The game from the beginning, So they separate for a while. One single, like, broke up, doing the single life. The other one's married with kids, but they both have gaming. They get back together at a birthday party. He brings him a new virtual, modern day virtual reality gaming set where you can be. These gaming sets make you the character in the game. You feel that you're the character in the game. Like, it's virtual reality. You are in the game and you are the character, and they pick, it's like a play on Street Fighter, which I love because you all know I was Chun-Li, right? I was that fucking badass kicking the shit. Like, when it was gaming, the bear was there. That is one of the only freaking gaming games that I knew none of the actual control moves, but instinctually, I just push every button, do everything. I fucking Chun-Li your ass from here to fucking the other side of the world. I was Chun-Li, and I loved it. I loved that game. But it's also on Tekken. There's another one, Tekken something that it kind of put Tekken. It kind of puts a little Tekken in there too. So if you know the two games, we know it dates back a little bit. Mortal Kombat. Yes, I was the tiger. Yes, suck it. Mortal Kombat. I always pick the tiger. I like to rip that shit up. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, because I can't believe I'm talking gaming. The bear never talks gaming. I mean, it's like, but anyway, I really liked it. It does play a lot with that, but the virtual reality part of it, it's just mind blowing. So you're in the game. So apparently, what happens is Danny and Lance. Okay.
I think his name was Karl.
Karl, you're right. Karl and Lance, right? Or Karl,
Karl and Danny. So
Karl and Danny. Thank you, Josh. Thank you, because I don't want to confuse them. Karl and Danny. Okay, and Karl is going to be Chun-Li, right? Oh, it's Karl going to be Chun-Li?
No,
Danny is
the
Chun-Li.
male one, and Karl was the female one.
Right, so Karl's Chun-Li, the girl. And, okay, so they go into the virtual reality game that Karl bought Danny. Okay, very expensive too. Danny's taken aback because he hasn't seen him in a while, but he gets him this nice game. All right, and they start playing. And Karl's Chun-Li, and Danny is the other guy from Tekken. I don't remember his name, but Lance. That's where I'm getting Lance. It's Chun-Li and Lance. Yeah, Lance is the other character. So that's what we're gonna. Okay, So Lance, so it's Chun-Li and Lance, which is Karl and Danny. Okay. And they go to have a fight, and they end up having a relationship, like right the fuck there. Like, and we all know that passion leads to passion, right? Okay, but okay, like, I don't know. I played a lot of video games. That fucking never happened to me. But I don't have the system, so I don't know. It probably would if I was out there. But it just starts this whole big thing. It turns into being so astronomically different than anything they've ever done and like blow their minds apart. And I can understand that because it's virtual reality. He's a man in a woman's body now, having sexual relationships with his friend and feeling all of that like a woman, and all of the like, well, it's real, but it's not real, but is it real, but is it like, whoa, like
what's going on here?
What?
What?
You know, there's so goddamn much. So anyway, as we said before, Danny is married, okay?
Yeah.
So in a way, it sets up the whole premise. Like, Danny's now having a virtual affair with another man who is acting like a woman in a video game. This is what's going on. And it goes through, like the rest of it, we'll go through, piece by piece, but the rest of it goes all through what's that like for all of these people. You look at it from the woman, the married, the wife's part, Theo's part, the wife of Danny. You look at it through Danny's part, like, am I actually cheating or am I not? You look at it for Danny's from Karl's part. This is the best sex I've ever had in my life as a woman. Like, and he makes this great comment that I want to bring up later, Josh. It was like, it was just perfect. It was just freaking perfect. Like, the difference between a man and a woman. Like, and it was nice. It was flattering to both parties. So there will be no man hating here, people, because I do not hate men on any level. Okay. So yeah, you know that, right, Josh? So yeah, but so it gets to there, and then it goes through the whole thing. Do they stay together? Do they not? Like, they, there's a little bit of drama, just like everything else. Like, they're going to break up, they're not, they're right. And then we'll tell you about the ending later. But at least you know the premise of it now. We're talking about real life virtual sexual relationship.
But
identity crises, like cheating. Like what? Like, my brain just went, God damn you, Charlie Brooker, you did it again. You just fucking blew my world apart.
It was like, wow.
It was.
Excuse me.
So go on. What do you want to start with, friend?
So I think we should start at the beginning of the episode. Because there are... So to set the scene, so to speak, you first are introduced to Theo. You're first introduced to Danny and Theo as college roommates at a nightclub.
Right.
So, but the game that they play is they're acting as if they're single. Like a man meeting a woman, and the corny lines that he uses to try and pick her up.
I know. I like. Do they really work? God. I'm going like, does that work
in the real world? Like,
I could smell the desperation all the way here in Jersey.
But you're then introduced to not Danny, Karl, and a very briefly a girl that he's picked up at the nightclub, and that's how you're introduced to all the different characters.
Like you understand that Karl's on the take, like he's just looking for something, and he's a bit of a player, right? It kind of makes him look like a player. Really bad player, though. Really bad.
Yeah, really bad player. But also, I want to point something out. There's a common theme throughout the whole thing, but I picked it up at the beginning of who Danny is as a character and who Karl is as a character.
Okay.
So for me, Danny is the more reliable, if I'm using that, if that's the right word to use. He's the more reliable stable one, whereas Karl is the more adventurous one. Like, he's almost like for a better word, temptress.
To me, it is like the two different versions of stereotypical. We're not doing the judgment here. Charlie Brooker did it. Let's just be clear. Okay.
Yeah, we're not doing it, guys.
Charlie Brooker just made stereotypical models of two men's life. One, the stable provider, married with children, you know, and everything. And here is his friend over here living the I'll do what I want. I'll go out and get a girl. I'll be in a relationship for a little while and then dump them. Got the nice apartment, right? He's got more money, fancier apartment, better job. You know, like he looks more shiny. And so when Danny looks at Karl, he's like, oh, dude, I remember college. Like, why can't, like, this is, like, we were friends in college, but damn, you know, I wonder what's that like. And Karl's looking at Danny, like, with the stable relationship and children. You remember he was looking at the kids and he goes, are those your kids? Did you see his face? Did you see his face? He was like, like, I don't have that. Like,
so it's
you
like
know,
the polar opposites.
Yes.
Because you don't see that until the time jump. And then it's like, oh,
right.
Okay.
You do. Oh, but like, let's go to, that brings up the first scene where they're college, right? And you see them on the couch, they're playing gaming, and then she comes in and said, you know, after they hooked up the first night he met his wife, he brought her home, they hook up, you know, they're like got a thing going on. He leaves her sleeping, then he goes in the living room and plays, because they're all living together, and plays video games with Danny, and then she comes out and says, you woke me up or whatever, and then I'm getting to the point, they wrestle on the couch, Danny and Karl. Did you see Karl on top? All right. So when you see that little move that Karl does, and he gets on top of Danny and he's holding him and he's grinning at him, that is the very first scene that the female Chen Ling did in the when they first got into virtual reality. He did the same damn thing to Lance's ass, held him down, same look on his face. I'm telling you, Charlie Brooker's evil. Look what he did to me.
So like,
like I actually saw that, but you know, he's so creative, and I'm glad I can like see these things. Like I actually, I watched this several times because I'm like, what are you trying to tell me, Charlie? What are you trying to tell me, Charlie? Like, you know. But you see what I mean? You know, can you see that? Like you saw the wrestling on the couch and they were like just playing around, and that's normal. We're not making anything out of that. We're not saying, you know, I'm saying that happens. You know, you do that. You guys pushing each other. Girls do it all the time. We're always slapping each other's ass. I grab boobs. I don't, you know, whatever. You do that kind of stuff. But does that mean when I get into a virtual reality game, like if this is ever possible, and like I'm a lonely bear, please let this be on the planet somewhere someday before I die. That would be awesome. Just saying. I'm just looking forward to it. Anyway, my prayer to the techno gods everywhere, you know, because it also ties into San Juniper. Did you watch San Juniper, the one about the older people where you have a place to go? Same thing, virtual reality. You live your best decade, like go right back to the 80s and live your best life for the rest of your life. It's kind of like that. And even during that episode, I prayed to the techno gods that can happen before I leave this planet, because that's how I want to go, like in my best body, doing my best shit, like walking, going out like that forever in San Juniper. Like I'll do it. I'd do it. I'd sign up for it. I'd sell everything to do it. But anyway, but I digress. So, go ahead, Josh.
No, so again, early on, like when they do the time jump from them being in college, and then 11 years later, you've got I was getting confused.
11.
Danny, 11 years. So you got Danny, who's got the married to Theo and got the child and everything. But there's little subtle things, like Theo looking in a mirror, like question for like the ladies in the chat, and like, do women, what's it called? Do women, as they get older, worry about image more? That's the question I have to ask.
Or are you asking an older woman like myself? I could answer that for you. Hell of a fucking it's been on me since I became aware of my body as a young girl. But I will say, as I get older, the pressure is more, because I don't feel unattractive. I don't feel the change, but I notice the change in how society in some men treat me. Yes,
because
I do.
it was just the way Theo was looking into the mirror, like it was almost like a longing.
It was, no, that is actually, I could explain that part. That's not even a getting older thing, Josh. That is a why don't he want me thing.
Ah, right. Yeah, because right after that scene, you've got Danny
Why
sort
did
of looking
things
at the woman.
change? Did I look? Am I different? Why did things change? Is it him? Is it me? Like last week, he was banging me every day. This week, like he can't even. She said he won't even touch my shoulder. He won't kiss me. He doesn't do anything. And she's looking at herself, going, "What happened? Did I change overnight? Like what's wrong with me?" And I don't think that's a woman thing. I think men might do it too. I'm not judging. I'm not in their bathroom. I'm not judging. But I do believe that everybody who goes from that, they want me. It's great. I feel so good too. Like, where the fuck did they go? Why did they step back? What the hell happened here? Like, they live here. They're in my bed. But what is going on? Like, is it me? Is it me? Like, that's a is it me thing. It's a why don't you want me thing.
And I think So now I was just going to say, like, from Theo's point of view, I think that's the common theme with her is it me? Because one of the lines that she says is her body's changed after.
And he said, what did he say kindly? He said, "Oh no, love, don't go there." Like in some words like that. Like he told her, no, that's not it. Like he didn't seem to be judging her that way at all. But God, virtual reality sex. Like, how can you compete? But he's not hurting her about it. You know what I mean? He's doing his best to deal with it and try to make it not her issue. But what words could he say when a person feels that way? Like, is it me? Like when a woman, like I think we had this conversation a couple of days ago. Didn't it come up that we were saying the societal pressure that men feel to become providers? And that the man in any category, and I'm not being like gender, I'm not being like a genderphobe. I'm just talking about that provider fixation, what that society puts on you. No matter what relationship you're in, if you feel like your job isn't enough or you're not providing enough, no matter what, the other partner in your life can't really help you with that because it's ingrained on you from society and pressure, and you're kind of doing it to yourself. The same thing with her looking in the mirror. She's doing that to herself. He is creating the situation by not touching her, but the way she feels about it and is making it big, that's society. That's stuff that's in her. That's the pressure. You know what I mean? To always be beautiful, to always be wanted, to like, if they're not doing that, they don't care for, you know what I mean? Like it's more.
And like, again, like, because you go from that scene, the family scene, and but then you go to Karl's scene where he's literally having sex, basically.
They had nothing but sex, people. They stopped fighting every time they went in there. There was no fighting going on.
But this was just before the virtual that kicked off. It was him. It was the point of view of like one's a bachelor and one isn't.
Right.
It was the different dynamics of how family life and single life collide, I guess.
It was the wanting to know what the other's life was like, and the actual, they both were looking at each other like they wanted to be the other, or they wanted to know the other. And I think that might have, in the virtual world, helped kick off that passion spark. Plus, Chen Li's hot. Fuck, and the other guy, he was built, and there's nobody around, and like, I'm gonna fight you, but damn, I'd really rather kiss you. It happened. It was, oh man, like but like I said, that wrestling scene, that was the first scene. Like, I'm gonna kick you. No, I think I'd rather kiss you and just jump on you. That was
but what's interesting about that is Danny's not the one who instigated that. Karl was.
No, that's right, because Karl is feeling very, in my opinion, very unsatisfied with his free lifestyle. And it happens. At least all of us, like, I get that way. I got a free lifestyle. What do I want, man? I want a companion, and until I don't. until it don't work out and they're giving me a headache or whatever.
Yeah.
You know how it goes, you know, and I'm not trying to be an asshole about it, but that's the way it is. Like I crave that. I feel like that is when I'm at my best, supported with someone there, somebody to talk to, somebody to hold, somebody to have all that great sex with, like whenever I want, like somebody that hears me and relates to me, you know. I think we all want that. And I think that is what Karl wanted. Karl was looking at Danny like, Danny's got that. I get all the sex I want, but nobody's talking to me. And I eat my breakfast alone, and I drink alone, and I play video games alone. And look at this guy. He's got, like, he's never alone. Like, he's got people, like, he has his thing. That's all his. And he's got support.
And I think that's the difference between, like, sex and intimacy. It was a great around Karl's part, he wanted intimacy,
but Danny just wanted hot sex because he was getting sex, don't get me wrong, and I'm not saying he wasn't satisfied, because it looked like they had a very good relationship, but there is, let's be real, I mean, there is that kind of sex that he wasn't getting, and he wasn't free to even explore, because those are the sacrifices you make in a committed relationship unless you have conversation. I'm not saying you have to live like that. Everybody knows you can have polyamorous relationships. You can all have any kind of relationship, well, as long as you're having the conversations ahead of time, and you make up the model on how it should go, you know, that's fine. But in Danny's situation, he was not. He was in a committed relationship, and he didn't have the freedom, and didn't want to put it on his partner in any way to make them feel a certain way, like he wanted something different. And he may not have even known, because it looked like it took them both by surprise when it happened, but they both damn were into it after it did. They were like, whoa, that's freaking fantastic. Like, I want more of that. Like, when we playing again, like, let's play. Like, what? You know, like, they went for it. Like, oh God, you know, what really surprised me was Karl sitting at dinner with a woman he just picked up. He had the virtual in his ear, and he was like having sex in virtual reality with Danny while he was out on a date. That blew my mind. That just made me see, like, he's never going to let this go. This is it. Like, this means something to him. Like, if he's doing that, like, damn. Yeah. And the same thing with, no, that was Karl that was having dinner. No, Karl was having dinner, and he was having sex with Danny in the virtual reality, while Danny is telling his wife no, having sex with Karl in virtual reality. So they both decided to give up the real life situations to do the virtual reality affair, which to me blew my mind. Like, they actually preferred that to a warm body. And that blew my mind until Chen Li said what she said. Like, and then also, this is the part I want to bring up with Always Grateful. I feel that the characters in the game were made to be neurologically sensations transposed to real life. Absolutely. So that would also mean that the characters had sentiency. And I do believe that, because there's no way they'd be giving up a relationship with the warm body if the sensations and the ability to feel and emote about it were not there in the game. And to me, that was fascinating. That was like, oh, that was fascinating that it could get that far.
The way in which Karl introduces the game to Danny is when they go into it, like, for the first time, Karl sort of says, you know, you feel everything.
Yes. Like, this is, can I bring up the quote now then? Okay.
Yes.
You feel everything. Okay. So Karl as Chen Li, you know, Lance, who is Danny, asks her, so what is it like? Like, you're in a woman's body. Like, how do you feel it? She said, crazy. It is so much. She said, you know, for you, it's like a guitar solo. It's great. But in this body, for her, it was like the whole fucking orchestra. Just at the same time, like, everything going off, but a different tempo. Like, I'm there with you, I feel it. But in this women's body, it's like so much more. They said they felt more complete about it. It felt more They felt more involved in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that might be what Karl was missing in his random sex life, the intimacy, the connection. And he could only get it by being a female, which is very odd. But he felt it, and he liked it, and he wanted to keep doing it. And I give him all the credit for it. But that thing about, it's great to be a solo guitar player. I mean, that's awesome, right? Like, that's great music, and he gets the job done, and you know what I mean? But he's saying that's the difference between having sex as a man and having sex as a woman. And I was like, that resonated. Like, I was like, cool. That was thank you, Charlie, for that. I feel like you hear me a little bit. Like, I'm liking you. You're annoying the fuck out of me, Charlie Brooker, but I like you. I really do. I really do. Yeah.
Going to the I can't even say it properly, intimacy part of it. Yeah. Because there is a part where Karl sort of gives it up, but Danny doesn't, and they have other way around. Sorry, Danny gives it up, Karl doesn't. I get the two confused.
Danny decides he doesn't want that the relationship is pulling him away from his wife.
Exactly.
And he wants to choose real life. He's starting to realize, hey, this is a game, and if it was real life, I wouldn't be fucking this guy. I wouldn't be doing that. Like, you know what I mean? And, he's like when he sees the damage that's being caused, after they had that dinner with Theo says, why don't you want me? And he realizes he's hurting his wife because it's interfering, because he's having this great sex, so he can't have sex with his wife because he's thinking about that sex. So he makes the decision, right, Josh? He packs
it away, and like but Karl doesn't. Karl carries on, and there is a phone call between the two, and Danny's telling Karl that he's giving it up. And Karl says basically that, and this is where the intimacy of them being really close friends sort of plays into it, because Karl has had sex with multiple different people in the game. As a man, as a woman, and he even says as a polar bear, I think it is.
He was like screwing people as a polar bear, which I found like, thanks for that, Charlie, you snarky bastard.
Like, thank you. We really needed that visual.
Yeah, we needed that.
But it's Karl's trying to convince Danny to basically play the game again so that they can carry it on. Because I think because they were such good friends at the beginning. That's where the intimacy is.
But that's the thing. Yeah, like Queen says, maybe he had to be more vulnerable to go there, and being the woman character was his way of doing that. And that resonates with me. I think that's why he chose her. He was not feeling it. He was having sex all the time, but not feeling it. He's not feeling the connection. He wanted his sex to change. Everybody knows there's two kinds of change. There's two kinds of sex. There's the, let's just get it done, I just want to get off, like the fucking sex for sex, period. Yeah. Sex for the beginning to end, what it's going to be. And then there is intimately connected sex where you are with somebody that you're trying to relate to, and you are working together with your bodies to get to someplace awesome. That's different. Everybody knows that different. Well, apparently Karl was not getting that with all of these women. He was not, because most of them, as you saw, were like, oh, you don't want to finish? Fine. Can I finish myself? And they just get on the phone and they do their thing, and then they're gone. They were just like Karl. They were only there to get the sex. They didn't want that connection. So he wasn't getting it. Always says that on their real life, they can't get past the social stigmas and their own genders, but the game gives them new identities, which is letting them experience life and sexual fulfillment. Exactly. Without the judgment, because there's nobody there but them. Bingo. Always, right, Josh? Bingo. Yep. Like the freedom to just do whatever without the repercussions, to try it out, to see what it would feel like, to explore without society where it's only the two of them. They could be anybody and do anything that they want, and they only have to worry about each other. But that did become a problem. Worrying about each other became a problem. But that's what fascinates me about that freedom, just like San Gennaro, when the older people get to do that freedom, always like that triggers me. Like, I'm like, what would that feel like as a woman to not have the pressure on me to be judged by things I want to experiment with or do without being called the names, without having the judgment, the shame? Like, damn, would life have been different? Like, right? Like, weird. I'm sure it would have been crazy as fuck, and that's why we don't all live in a not real life. I'm sure there has to be rules. I get why it's not like that way, but damn, it's enticing. It's yeah. Yeah, that's all I got to say.
Because like going off what Always Correctable said, with like this actually freedom to explore like things like that when they're in the real world, it's more towards the end, they meet up and they were like, okay, so we're gonna kiss now.
Oh yes, when they decide, after they break, you brought us to the point where Danny says no more. He walks away, okay, and Karl can't deal with it. And then 7 months later, after they're trying to be away, right? There's like he like approaches him like, no, like whatever. I forget how did they get to that point where it was raining in the parking lot, because I must have
okay, so basically Danny says no more. But it's Danny's birthday again, and this time Theo is
that's right. And
so
she invites him.
Theo invites Karl over for dinner. And that's how that reconnection.
And they start having the conversation, and then they decide they have to talk about it, right? Because Karl at dinner, in between Theo coming and going from the room, tells Danny, how can you walk away from it? How can you find anything that compares with it? I've tried. And that's where we find out about the polar bear and all of the rubber people that he's been doing and all this. I have tried for 7 months to find anything that compares to being a virtual character with you in a game and screwing your head off. Like, he can't find anything that feels that good. So the only thing he wants is Danny in that game. And he's telling Danny, that's the only thing that's going to satisfy me is you in that game. Like, there's something there. Like, I need to know what it is. And that's how they get out in the rain fighting, right? Like, they get out there.
And it's like, because when they're in the game, and like when they're in the game, they have that like intimate passion. But when they try and kiss on the outside, there's nothing there. There's no spark.
Which they do. They couldn't even walk close to each other. The way was that not beautifully written, Josh? Didn't that like get Danny could not move. Danny literally said, go ahead, just kiss me. And he closes his eyes and he puts his hands up like it's going to be an assault. Like, he cannot even move. The idea that he has of being with a man, of kissing his friend, he could not move. I'm telling you, they wrote it so beautifully. But then you see that Karl's the one that can. Karl's the one that wants to know if it's true. Karl's the one that has to put it to rest. He's got to go for it. So he kisses him. And fucking nothing. They both look at each other like, that sucked. That's the like, fuck.
It's like there's no spark there at all. But
then go on.
This goes more towards like the ending, which is interesting in how the relationship dynamic has changed throughout the whole thing. Because at the end, it is basically, hang on, let me backtrack a little, because you've got to understand this. You also got to understand Theo's like the wife's point of view. Like there is this like the wedding anniversary. I'm going back a bit, but the wedding anniversary, when they're having that conversation of she's saying to him, don't you want me anymore? Before they sit down to dinner, she gets hit on by a man, and there's that glint in her eye of like, she wants it. So the end scene is very interesting because Danny and Karl basically continue their game shenanigans, but Theo is able to date, I guess would be the right word.
Yes. Yeah, she actually wrapped up her wedding for this is 7 months later and it's their birthday. And she wrapped up her wedding ring and she puts it in a box and
Yeah.
gives it to him and gives it to him for his birthday as a present. And that was his freedom. She gave him his freedom. She gave herself her freedom.
Yes.
When they fought, here's the thing. When they kissed in that rain, right, and that didn't work, they realized the physical part in this reality of us being together sucks. We could not do this. But hey, here's this virtual reality world where it's possible, and that felt damn good. And then they start fighting because they can't decide whether they should do that or not do that. So they have this big fall. They go to jail. Theo kind of, pulls them out. And I think at that point, Theo kind of realized there's more going on than not. If Danny, who is so calm, let's just say the character is so well written as calm, stable, doesn't overreact about anything.
Yeah.
If he's out in the rain having a brawl with his best friend, there's some shit going on that she doesn't know about. And so she starts thinking, hey,
there's something going on there.
There's something going on there. So I'm sure, even though we didn't get to see those conversations, I'm sure those conversations were happening between Danny and Theo, because I could see it on her face that things were starting to click. And I saw Danny's shame when his wife came to pick him up. I think he knew jig was up. Yeah. You saw his face. Yeah. And that was like, I don't know, it's just like he's writing. All right, people go at Charlie all the time for this kind of bullshit. But when it comes to the emotional impact of something, while you're trying to make the scientific point that technology is fucking up our lives, people. Okay.
Well, yeah.
In a way. Okay. Every single thing Charlie does, he's trying to tell you, if you focus on not the real and you go over here, shit's gonna happen. It happened in Nosedive, it happened in San Juniper, it happened with those damn bees. Okay. If because they were talking about cyberbullying and all. And in this one, it's like, if you put 100% into my message was, if I put 100% into my internet relationships and don't leave anything for my real life relationships, I'm not going to have real life relationships. That was my mess. That's what I saw at the end, at the end. And then again, I also saw the message is, whatever makes you happy. If that's where your happy is, go for it. Like, because let's talk about that ending, John. Come on. Like
that ending, like, oh. See, as I said, it's throughout the whole thing, there is a theme of like, Danny's got the stable relationship, he's married, he's got children, whereas Karl doesn't. And then the ending is basically sort of like, I wouldn't call it an open relationship that Danny's got now, but it's more freeing.
Well, he's definitely banging the hell out of Karl on a regular basis in the game. So it's like he's free in the game,
But like, the dynamic between Danny and Theo changes as well. So that's the whole thing. And towards the end, she gives him the game and says, "I want this back." Did she say she wants it back in the morning? So like, there is.
So like, I think they had the conversation where, if this makes you happy, you can be happy. I'm gonna go get my happy. What I think is, they're two adults, because they don't really explain it well. They just show you the imagery, and the imagery and the scene said to me, they've had the conversations as two adults with children, which you would hope that a family that has children involved would do this. And it happens quite often with it. Let's be real. I'm divorced. I know you can only go so far, and physically sex changes and desires change, and people grow, and you want different things. But if you have children, things, you would hope you can be adult enough to have a conversation, to build a relationship around still raising those children and creating an environment where everybody gets what their needs. And apparently in this dream world of Charlie Brooker, he found a way. He said to the wife, there's no strings. Like, the wife gets to go out and have as much sex as she wants with strangers and feel wanted and desired and get dressed up and do what she wants. and Danny gets to go in his virtual world and have his sex. Now, I don't know if they're still having sex together. I doubt it. But what I do know is they're still in the same house raising their children, and they both looked happy at the end. They looked freaking happy. They looked like they respected each other and loved each other enough to give each other what they need. And damn, that was a strong message that I could stand behind. A fucking yeah. Like, I want that. Like, I want that. You know what I mean? I would hope I would act that way, whether it be to let somebody go because you're not their cup of tea, regardless of emotional strings and all this other shit. You know what I mean? You know, moving forward and stuff. But the respect of the love, you know, and wanting the best for the other person.
Yeah, because I was just going to say, like, throughout all this, the love that Danny has for Theo doesn't necessarily change at all.
No, the sex did. Right, the want did, the sex did. It didn't. He found something that was more than, and that's not Theo's fault. That's not Danny's fault either.
It's just one of those things of like, it can happen, and in a long, especially in a relationship like of years, it can happen, and I think that's what they were playing on.
Yeah, I resonate with it. It's a personal thing with me. That's a strong message. It is a strong message, and I like the way that Charlie portrayed it in a soft way for us to get it without beating us with it. And I also like that finally Karl is happy. He has his wealth, he has his cars, he's got his big gaming system and everything, but he also has, without having to get a wife and have kids and do everything, he has that intimacy of his sexual relationship in the game, because he treats that different than Danny. Danny treats it like the best hot sex he's ever had in his life, and oh my God, isn't this glorious? But Karl treats it differently. Karl is actually treating it like the best intimate connection he's had with another person ever.
Yeah, and like, I gotta point out, it's kind of funny that Karl ends up with a cat.
Yes! Because after all, Karl's digging being a pussy. All right, I had to say it. Don't come from a YouTube.
Yeah. Don't come but no, it is. It's interesting. Like, he's got like, because what's funny is you see Danny's work and how bored he is at work.
You
don't see Karl's work. But he's got to be well off.
He's well off. You see that apartment, the view, the furniture, like all the subtle. Like, here's the other thing that I've got to talk about Charlie Brooker's creativity with, the director. First of all, the comparison between the two episodes, San Juniper and Striking Vipers, is definitely on purpose, because Charlie Brooker said so in an interview. I read an article when I was getting ready for this in November, and it clearly stuck with me, because he said this was the male version of what was going on in Cell Juniper. This was the trying to find ourselves as a man in the world version of San Juniper. What he did with the older people, that they could go away with the same technology and find their happiness and deal with what was happening and everything. It was just that version of flip it. It's a man. This is the man's version of that episode, which I found striking, because, and was like, wow, Charlie Brooker's actually sitting around, thinking in his head about these sexual dynamics of men and women, and I was quite impressed. Actually, I was quite impressed that he made the correlation.
Yeah, because in the other one, it's like you say, female.
It's females. It's a lesbian relationship.
It is, yeah.
And in this one, it turns out to be I would have to say pseudo homosexual, because after all, the sex does involve a male and female character, but in real life, they are two men.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of weird. Like, I guess Charlie couldn't get there, huh, Jay? He couldn't Josh, he couldn't get all the way there. Right?
I couldn't think. But
he couldn't get all the way there. But that's just how he did it. You know what I mean? Let me just pull up. This is a good comment. Okay. Communication is essential, especially if you're feeling unfulfilled. One person doesn't have to be the full vessel of your happiness. Yes, Pickle, thank you. Because let's be clear, who's responsible for your happiness, people? Who?
We are.
You? Right. ourselves. It's up to us to know what we want, what makes us happy, and to communicate that to the others around us, to give them the chance to be that, to communicate appropriately. And she says, continuing, and in recognizing and accepting that can be liberating. It takes nothing away from one for another to have their needs met. Absolutely. I'm at that age, Pickle, that nail on the head right there. Once I learned that many, many, many years ago, I became a much happier person. I don't apologize as very often. I don't go out of my way to hurt people, but I am always very clear about what I need and what I want. And it makes it a lot easier. But there's always situations change, right? You just always have to be open to have the conversation, right, Josh? You like talk. Yeah. Always Creative says Theo could also control the relationship between Danny and Karl with her use of the free pass. That's right.
Yeah.
Always. That's a valid point, because this is how the marriage stayed together. What was uncontrollable to Theo when she knew it was something going on, but nobody would talk about it, and she was putting it all that it was her, that she was not wanted or this or that. Once she realized it's something she could not provide no matter what, right? There's no way she could compete with this virtual thing, right? It's impossible. Okay. But to give her control over it, when he did it, whatever, allows her to take her power back, not be as hurt, go out and get the sex that she wants, and still feel like she got her power back, and she's controlling the situation in a way to make herself able to do it. And I'm glad that they worked that out. That must have been a tale of a conversation. And I'm glad that Danny was willing to give her the keys. At that point, now we're talking just man lust here. At that point, Danny's going to do whatever the fuck he can to get those keys anyway. Like if she says you've got to cook dinner 7 days a week and you're doing all the laundry, he's doing it to get those keys. I assure you. But and I'm sorry, I'm not man bashing. I'm just talking the way it is. You've all of you men in my life who talk to me regularly has said that to me at least once, that a man will do what he needs to do to get there if that's where he wants to be. If that's what so I get it. But a woman will too, because believe me, she wanted to go out and do her thing. Okay, so she was willing,
That was hinted at more than once, I think.
Yes, because didn't she say the sacrifices I make to feel like this? Like I could go out there, I could get something to make me feel better, but I don't, because we're in a committed relationship.
Yeah, she does. Yeah,
right. Yeah, she kind of threw it back on him, and that's when he kind of tried to break up with Karl, because he realized he was hurting her. She wasn't having sex that she needed to feel good, because he was denying her that. And as a full-grown woman, I'll tell you, if you need sex to feel good, and I am one of those women, I can't be in a relationship where someone is ignoring me for weeks or months at a time, where I don't start to take it personally, because I need my endorphins, period. It's what makes me feel good. I want the attention. I don't deny that I want the attention. The attention makes me feel good. Don't deny me the attention without a reason. At least communicate with me. I understand tired. I understand work. I understand all of that other bullshit. But don't ignore me. You ignore me, I'm going to go get my fix. Okay?
And
that's it.
I know I keep bringing it back to the intimacy thing, but she feels like Theo felt like Danny wasn't giving her the intimacy. So that's the reason why she started questioning it.
Yeah, but she didn't even want intimacy. She wanted straight out sex. He could have did her on the washer. She would have been happy. She felt unwanted. She just wanted to know he had the urge. He saw her, had the urge done. I mean, she really wasn't asking for that much time. But let's be real. He couldn't get it up because it wasn't the virtual, and that was tripping his trigger at the time. And sometimes that's how it is for a man. Everybody thinks a man can just look at any woman on the planet and get a hard on. Yeah. I mean, that might be true 85% of the time. I just realized what I just said. I'm like, from what you tell me, I'm not judging. I'm just saying there is a way. I don't care what you're thinking about in your head, whatever. Like if you want to. But I'm just saying for Danny, it wasn't working because he had this other image in his head and it wasn't Theo. So he couldn't get there. And Brilliant brings up a good point, because I'm going to support you on this, Brilliant. I'm not going to judge you because I am here too. If technology was sufficient, I would definitely try experience it, what it feels like to have sex, as the opposite said. I'm there with you, Brilliant. If it gets there, call me, because you could be the girl and I could be the because no, I'm just saying, I could see the glory of it. I could see the glory of it just having sex as a woman in a virtual reality without all those strings and hell. It would be hell, because they made it feel like you could feel it. You know what I mean? They like always said, they made it feel so sentient, so like it was real, like you could actually feel it. And if God damn, if technology gets there, we're all living in bubbles from now on, people. Because I mean that's it. Because what's going to happen to us? It's like it's like the future. Oh my God! I think that's Charlie's warning. Is that if it gets here, like you're all not even going to talk to each other anymore. You're all going to be in virtual reality doing whatever. Yeah.
But I was going to say, there's a few episodes like that where it's like, ooh, technology can be our best friend, but also it can be our worst nightmare.
Yeah, but in this case, the virtual reality part of it, I would like to also make this clear. It didn't keep them from the messiness of the relationships. It didn't keep them from all of those feelings and the things that happen, which, like, if I was going into a virtual reality game to do this kind of shit, like I don't want that. Like I would have to do strangers or something. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I don't want to like go into I wouldn't want to use it to go into a virtual reality and like, how you always have that one that got away and you're thinking like, damn, I wonder what it would have been like. Like he had the finest ass I ever saw in my life and I never got to touch it. Like, it would be hard not to do that, but I wouldn't do that because I don't want, like, if I want to be that free, I want to be like that free. You know what I mean? Like if I'm experimenting, like by being the man, I don't want the judgment of whatever that other messiness is going to be on top. I want to be free to go out there and dick it off like a man, like for a while. That would be cool. That would be cool. Like I'm there. I know, Josh. I'm sorry. I just stunned you into silence. I'm sorry.
It would be interesting, like, as Brilliant said, to, see what it's like as a woman.
Would you? Would you?
I would, just to see what it was, just to see what the feeling would be like, I guess, even though that, Karl did kind of explain it, like with the whole orchestra and guitar reference, but, it'd be interesting.
You know what? Always, I'm right here with you. This is my life, love, right now, because I want the physical part, but not the relationship. So, a friends with benefits is great. It's like, thanks for a great time, but you can't stay here. Like, get the fuck out of my game. Time over. But that's the beauty of it, right? Always, we get to push the button and they're gone. I don't have to make breakfast. I don't have to make the bed. I can do whatever. Like that. God, talk about freedom. But anyway, I hear you, because at a certain age, I mean, yes, because they got the physical part of it. If I was experimenting, and we're only talking, like, I'm not talking about real life here, people. I don't treat people like that. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm talking about like holding space. There are times in your life when you are not ready to give 100% to a partnership, right? That you should have the self-awareness to know when you're not capable of that kind of stuff. But does it mean you don't have needs? I mean, for me, I still have needs of connection, of communication, of endorphins. That's my new word for it, Josh.
Endorphins. Yeah.
I'm talking about the result. Anyway, I still have those needs, you know what I mean? And I know myself very well. And the bear, talk all the time, looking for communication and connection 24/7. That's just me. You all see me out here. You recognize it. That's just me. I'm like that in real life. That's me. I need that. And And when you're not in a partnership, it's a little harder to find. You find it in different ways. But it's usually, instead of one person, it's multiple people. You have your friends you talk to. You have your family you talk to. You have things that you do. You join clubs, hobbies, whatever. There's people you watch movies with. There's, you know what I mean? Like you kind of disperse those partnership things into a bunch of other people temporarily, including if you can get yourself a buddy for the other part, like always say, friends with benefit, then damn, you got it made. You're holding space until you're ready for whatever. And the important part is just don't hurt anybody. Communicate. What you're there for, that they're cool with it, you know, and, you know, that's grown up. That's adult to me,
even,
you know.
Yeah, and also, but like, I want to give it from like the perspective of, even if you're in a relationship, you sort of also need that connection with other people, because like you can't put all your energy into can't put all your energy into like the relationship. You've also got to have like friends, family, like that like that
yes, you do.
of like
they all feel all of those connections and feel a part of the void when you are alone without a partner. In some way, and they can still be there after, but they do enhance it, and it's a place to go to get that fulfilled. I like Gretchen's pointing out one of the best reasons you should have an online virtual relationship. If this game comes out, you will not get an STD and or a surprise pregnancy. Could you imagine if Chin Lee got pregnant?
Oh,
like, Karl, you got a whole new experience coming on.
A whole new experience. Not only do you have like,
but what? Wait a minute.
For Danny as well, because like Danny would be like, I've got kids.
I got kids. I can't go there. And wait, and what are they gonna do when the character Texas shows up and tries to regulate Karl's uterus? Holy shit! I'm sorry, I had to go there, Josh.
That would be funny as hell, but like,
it's just maybe Texas is the polar bear. Oh. No, I had to go. I'm sorry, people. I'm sorry. It just, the picture hit my head. It was like a meme, and I couldn't get it out. I just had to say it. You know, I digress and go anyway. But this is also a very good point, that you always understand that you don't want the emotional involvement, so it works for both of you. I am happy for you always, because being able to get there after a long partnership is a big major step, and I applaud you for getting there and being honest and getting what you need and finding somebody compatible to do it with, but not taking on more than you can deal with. That's important. And girl, I love you. I do. She is amazingly brilliant, a fantastic writer, very clever, and she loves Black Mirror as much as I do. And she has always we could talk Charlie Brooker forever. You know, I know, Kelly, not the character in Texas. Like, can we just boycott Texas ever getting into the virtual reality games at all? You know, because that would, like, it is. But that would be good. I just had to. It was a meme. It just popped in my head. Like, Karl gets pregnant. He's trying to deal with it, and in walks Texas, trying to tell him what it was a whole thing. Sorry. This is why I should stay off the internet some days. Oh God, you're biased, Josh. You're biased.
Well, yeah, I'll admit my bias, but
All right. So we are at the hour. Is there things you still want to talk about? What do you want to say?
No, I mean, as I time I say, what I find interesting about that whole episode is the characters are so well done in the different outcomes, and like the different, as I said, their personalities, and like those characters when they are together, it's really interesting to see how one is one way, one is the other, and then you've got Theo in the middle, I love the whole writing of it. Wow.
Oh, you fell in love with Charlie, didn't you? You did, didn't you? You did.
Yeah, I did.
I know. I feel for you, because I did from the very first episode, and in that one he fucked a pig. It was terrible.
Oh yeah, like okay.
And I still, asshole that I am, fell in love with Charlie Brooker's writing and creative style, even though he tortured me with that imagery.
I wonder
forever.
where he got that idea from, people.
I don't know, but that episode's still up. Maybe we'll do it in March if JC's ready. Because by the way, JC will be coming back eventually. Like I hear you all that were in my DM saying like, where is this? Where is this? And I just wanted to show that we didn't give up on it.
Here.
It's still here. Josh and I did this one because it's ready, but we will not be doing it next week or right away. Because you all love JC as much as I do. And it is our series together. And Josh is just helping me hold place because
I'm just a placeholder. It's all good.
He's an amazing placeholder. We had an adult conversation about what we wanted from each other before we did this.
Yes, we did.
We did. And just so you all know, send love, whatever. Everybody gets real life stuff. There's nothing really going on. Everything's cool. It's just real life shit gets in the way. So, and I want to hold space. You guys know I will hold space. So maybe we'll talk about doing, the pig one in March. Because that one was supposed to be mine anyway. Because when we did this, we kind of split a few of them up, and I got saddled with that hot mess because apparently, I could deal with it. But believe me, I could not do it. It was the first one I saw, and I was like, "Oh my god! Oh my god! Yes! Oh my god!" Like,
it's an episode and a half, because I've seen it.
But anyway, maybe in March. Like, we only want to do like right now. Just keep the series alive without doing it like on a regular basis. So be patient with us. We don't mean to tease you or, jack you around or anything like that. I'm not like that. I'm being as open and honest as I can. I wanted to put this out here so you knew we were going to continue with it. It's not dead. We still got 12 more or 13 more after this to do, and we're going to get to them because I love Charlie Brooker and he needs my voice on every damn episode because I said so. because I'm trying to get his attention. I even emailed him too, but he won't write back.
See, that's just rude.
That's just rude. It is just rude. But, hey, if anybody wants to get me a present for my birthday, just get Charlie to call me. Good luck with that. Possible dreams of a bear. But here you go. I do love creative, fantastic people. Just, Josh, I just, if I'm a fan, it. I can't help but gush. Just ask that damn bird with the TRO. Like, damn, what can I say? Anyway, and on that, Josh, I've got the Easter eggs. Do you want to know what they were?
Oh, go on then.
Easter eggs are like things you hide in videos. They do it with Star Trek and Star Wars and all these other stuff. There's right. So like the whole Black Mirror community, and yes, there's a community. There's a Reddit. There's like a whole thing. They always they find these things that are similar with the other episodes or tie in all these other places, and I found them all. I'm proud of myself always. I watched the episode 4 times and I found them all before I searched online because there's always an article that's a spoiler.
Yeah, there is,
because this is an older series. Let's be real. This isn't just happened. This is all done, years ago. But for me, it was valuable. Like it needed to be shouted out and I enjoy talking about it, so, I'm going to go through them. But anyway, always, you'll be proud of me. I found them all before I found the article. So there we go. So the first one is, like everybody may be well aware of this one, but the device that's used is the TCKR, and that gets mentioned in quite a few other episodes. Yeah. When you go into the episode that was Black Museum, it's in there. It's in San Juniper, obviously, because the company is mentioned because they're the ones that designed the whole place, that they're in, that the elder people get to retire in and everything. Like, but then that also one with everything about you, the one where the guy, like all the memories and everything, the same device was kind of used there too.
It was, yeah.
It was, yeah. Like, so this type of device is being used over and over again. And the company name, the TCKR, gets referenced in so many different episodes. The other thing I noticed was, did you notice the game over sign?
Yes,
Josh?
I did. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. So that's like a fucking like Roxette and Lance kind of bullshit thing in the back. It's like a joke. You know how they do
Yeah.
game over whenever they
Yeah.
lose like that. So I think Charlie did that on purpose to remind us of the two games that he was referring to, and the correlation that you remember, people. This is fucking virtual game. Like they're in a game.
Yeah.
Especially when he uses it when Danny tells him he loves him, and it says game over. Like that's it. Like game over. Okay, so like to me that's like the man woman thing where Karl, being the player and everything, once the girl finally says I love you, and then he disappears off the face of the earth, like that shit. Like that's what popped in my head when game over popped up. I said, damn, Charlie, like damn, like you stop that shit, because Karl's the woman this time. He's not gonna run away. Like stop that, damn Charlie. Like what was that? So Roxette is Chen-Li. Let's be clear. Her character's name is Roxette. There's nobody on this planet that's going to tell me that's not Chen-Li from Street Fighter. Nobody. The clothes, the kick, the everything, the attitude, like that was Chen-Li, right? Do you agree?
I agree. Yeah.
And, yeah. And Tekken. Lance, definitely character. Okay.
Yeah.
That's because also the signature move that she uses is right. What Roxette's a bit, that kick, that stance that she takes, that is exactly, because I'm telling you, I played this game. I was always Chen-Li. I know that character. Like I lived it, and that was her move. That was the move. That it was like It was like poetry. It was exactly that lightning kick. That was it. The other thing they mentioned was the two parallel scenes. That's an Easter egg. The romping on the couch and the first romp. They actually purposely tried to match that stuff up. That was interesting to know. Yeah, because I caught the parallels, but I didn't realize they went out of their way to do it. They actually went out of their way to do it. Also, do you remember the chocolate bar that he got for his birthday? Okay. Yeah. Did you? It said Lacey on it. You know who Lacey is?
Slightly. Wait.
She's the main character from Nosedive. That one you're talking about with the social reference where you get the points. She's a redhead.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. She's a redhead. Yeah. That was Lacey. Okay. So there's always a reference to something of another episode in these things. All of the Easter eggs have to do with referencing other episodes and things like that. In the very beginning, you notice Danny, when he meets Theo, is wearing like a varsity jacket type thing, but it's got those tigers on the front. You know where those tigers are from, right? Street Fighter. Mortal Kombat, rather, not Street Fighter. Mortal Kombat. Yeah. Okay. There's a pair of the tigers on the navy background. It's all stylized. It's got Tokyo on the back and everything with the stitching. All by itself, it's a great look, but it also mirrors all those settings in the back for striking vipers being in Tokyo and being like Street Fighters versus Mortal Kombat type thing, Tekken. You know what I mean? Like it kind of like he's kind of like setting the tone, know. And it also, they keep bringing it up too, like just trying to like. There's also in the actual game, there's also a tower that's very similar to Karl's building. I noticed too, the building that Karl actually lives in. So, did you notice in the filming the pastels?
In the filming?
Yeah. Did you notice when they do the home scenes and everything like that, that everything kind of had like a pastel feel? And that was that was very reminiscent of Nosedive, because all through Nosedive, it was all pinks and, pastel. And even when things were aggressive, they kept it all soft in the imagery. And I think they did that on purpose. And I'm trying to figure out why, and I haven't yet. Do you have any ideas?
Yeah. I mean, because there is if you go from the beginning, they use more of like an orange tone everywhere, and it's. I think that's because of obviously because of the nightclub they're in and the colors that they chose. But then it's got more of a darker setting at the beginning, And then when you do the time jump is when everything's more brighter, it's more
I think, and you know what I think that,
fluffier.
yeah, and I think that was on purpose because now they're also in the virtual game, which was popping with the colors and the bright and the total opposite. And so then the real world kind of brings them both on again, like less pastel and a little more bright as they progress through their real life relationship together, right? Like that.
Yeah.
Ooh, I think we correlated it quite well there, Josh. I think we found some. Tell us if we're wrong, Brookie. Yeah, I call him Brookie. I'm sorry. That's what I call him when I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. I'm like, Charlie Brooker, call me if I got it wrong. Like, I'll correct it. But, dude, you got to call me first. Could call me. I'm going to get that guy.
Claire's about to put 6 and 9 in the chat, so she has to put a number in it.
No, Charlie, believe me. When I emailed, he got my number. I'm telling you, I don't play. Like, yeah, he knows how to get me. If I want you to contact me, believe me, I'm letting you know how to contact me. Like, I'm not playing. But anyway, also like some of these details. Oh my gosh.
Always create brings up a good point. Pastels are muted like Theo's relationship.
Yeah. There you go. Good call. Nice. Yeah. Nice. Very, that's an awesome correlation too. See, she's good. She's really good at this too.
Yeah, because at the beginning it wasn't pastel colors, and that's when their relationship was more. I'm going to use the word fiery.
Yes, the little bits. Yep, I get it. Yeah, that's a good correlation there. All right, so the final confrontation.
Okay.
It's not a direct reference, I don't think, to any episode in Black Mirror. I couldn't find anything. But the imagery was all different. It was dark. It was wet. It was... I feel he was trying to get me to focus on something here, all of us. And I think it speaks of confrontation. They're trying to meet up, but it's an alley. It's raining. It's dark.
I think the tone there is.
It is also. It reminded me of. It reminded me of Grand Theft Auto. Like it was that kind of gaming reference to me. A little more violent, a little more stark. Like something's gonna happen. Yeah. It seemed to me like a direct gaming reference, but I don't play a lot of those games, so I'm missing where it's from. But I'm sure that scene, if somebody who plays these games recognizes it, just tell me what game it's from, because I'm almost sure Charlie was trying to make a reference somehow to some other game. For me, because I didn't find this one in any of the others, because it's so he's very specific. It's underground, it's an alley, it's dark, it's raining. He added so much, and maybe I'm giving him too much credit here, but creative geniuses have a habit of doing this shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they do.
And I, bear that I am in the habit of trying to figure that out.
It's all in the details.
It is. And I am like that. Like, if I like it, I like it. And I like you, Charlie. And I want to know what you're saying here. So if anybody can figure out where that, I'm thinking it looks very much like something from, only, like one of those thug racing brutal games.
Always correct. But I think that's a question. The polar bear is an odd correlation to the episode of White Bear and Technology.
Yes, it is. I was just getting that. Yep. Actually, the polar bear reference, I do believe, was definitely a correlation to White Bear. That was one of the things that's on my list here. Okay. So there are moves also in the end where when Chen Li, who is Roxette in the game, actually, in Street Fighter 4, there was an ultra move that they added with that uppercut under there, knock your fucking head off. Do you know what? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
He used that. He freaking used it at the end. Did you see? Like he did. It was always used as the comeback move or whatever.
Yeah.
But she used it in that first fight. And I was wondering if you caught that because you used to play this game too. But anyway, but those were my Easter eggs that I found. like the correlations to, you know, several of the other episodes. You know, when they were playing the original Striking Vipers game, you know,
Yeah.
a lot of those stages are like real places, but one of them is named Sato Helipad. You know, that one that was like where they were in the yellow and it was like all greenery and they're on a beach and it's kind of rocky.
Yeah.
It actually, there is a game called Sato Gemu, which has a seat, which was also referred to. And the only reason I know it is because we already covered playtest and it's in there. Okay, it's in there. And I learned about the Easter egg in there that it referred to it. And they actually did it again here. It kind of makes sense because both of those episodes featured video games at the heart of their narrative. So I see why he repeated using the reference again, because it is a repeat that both of these episodes are actually very heavily, you know, gaming oriented. So, you know, he's doing it. And he likes to put those little Easter eggs in for it. The only one is that, you know, in the other one, playtest, it goes to horror, and this one goes to romance. But hey, you know, same difference.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm just seeing if you're asleep. I was just seeing if you were asleep.
No, you know, I'm trying to remember the episode of playtest of like, is that the one where they, he gets this thing put on his head, and then
I don't know, but I covered it as number 7 in my series. You can go watch it again. I go to play. I'll tell you all about it. I'll tell you all about it. You know, but yeah, you know what? Always, I agree with you that you know, Grand Theft Auto, that, you know, that scene where they're fighting in the rain. There's something about that scene that speaks to me of that. I'm really thinking that that's where it is, but since I don't play the game, I can't really say.
Yeah, you know? Like the only GTA game that I played was San Andreas, and that was many
that was wonderful. Lee, you don't know how much of a compliment this is. Actually, I have no idea what you guys are talking about, but I'm enjoying listening anyway.
Aww.
Thank you very much. And you know, that's kind of nice to hear. Like, you don't have, that's kind of good. Look at that. But on that, we got 3 minutes for your final. I'm going to give you the final say on this episode because you were so gracious to help me out with this and let me close this chapter. You know, the problem is the bear has OCD. I am obsessive, and I created this episode and had it in my StreamYards ready to go since like October. And every time I log into StreamYards, it's the first thing there. Like it nags me and nags me and nags me.
It's like so you have to believe do this.
Yeah. It's not like I'm not trying. You know, I'm. You know, definitely. I want everybody to have the space they need. I love JC. I can't wait till she comes back. It's going to be another while. But I needed to get this one out here. I needed it off my damn playlist. I need it out of my StreamYards, and I'm throwing it to you, YouTube, and I'm putting it back out there because, like, I just had to. And I really appreciate, Josh, that you helped me with it because you didn't have to be so gracious, and you really were, because you're a really decent and good person, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
I tried,
and it was fun. Yeah, you do. But I love it.
Wait. That's the reason why I didn't like playtest.
It was the horrible spider with the face that gives me. Yes, always. It was number 7. That's why I wouldn't talk about it. I tried to get him to go look at it for himself. I don't want to go over that again.
I don't like that. There's a reason why. No.
Yes, always was with me for that. Always was like, she was in the chat. We were all like, oh God, let's just like
traumatized for life. Oh, that's.
Yes, we are.
But yeah, you know, I'm thankful that you allowed me to you know, come and do this episode with you. It was an interesting episode. There were so many layers to it, and I was like, wow.
This is what I love about Charlie, because the layers, like when you think you have it all figured out, I assure you we do not, because he's like the gift that just keeps giving.
Yeah.
But I'm glad you enjoyed it. So any final thoughts before I kick you out?
She's kicking me out, people. Do you hear how the bear treats the owl?
Yes, I do.
It's kicking me out.
It's just because you're bird affiliated, you know. It's the problem.
Bear doesn't like birds. Anyway.
What are you talking about? The bear loves birds. What are you talking about? Get out of here. Get out of here. Don't be selling that. That's going to be the next rumor out there.
It probably will, you know.
Yeah, but, right. Bear eats birds for breakfast, you know.
No, my final thoughts on it is like it was a very, as with all the Black Mirror episodes, it was a very interesting episode. And like the one thing I will say about any of the episodes is that you kind of need to watch it more than once, because it's like, huh? As you sometimes say, you kind of know what's going to happen, or no, you have a handle on it, and then you watch it again and you're like, oh, okay. But yeah, it was an interesting episode. I love how they played on social dynamics. That was interesting. But yeah, those are my final thoughts. What are yours?
Mine are, I still, after months away from Charlie, I still love you, dude. I do. I still think he's one. I love this series for the social dynamic implications. Yes. Let's be real. He's trying to talk to us about the dangers of the technology advancements that we deal with on a daily basis, and how overemphasizing the greatness of them can truly impact our interpersonal relationships in real life, you know, day to day. And that is his message through everything. And he makes them big, he makes them small. He kills me with spiders with faces and robot dogs that won't die and bees that go up my nose and try to kill me. And like, he does torture me. But the way that he does it, I cannot deny the man's brilliance. I love this series. You know, I wouldn't have it out here on YouTube and speak on it I wouldn't waste my time, an hour and a half on it if I didn't, you know, but those messages. And I grew up in a time, you know, I'm not 20, you all know, I'm not even 30. I'm not going to tell you how old exactly I am. So fuck that shit. Don't ask. But I am old enough to know that when I was growing up, this is the authors I read. Like I'm a Douglas Adams fan about, you know, life, the universe, everything. The answer to everything is 42, you know, and don't forget your towel. But I'm just saying the sci-fi that was out there at the time was all the warnings about social interactions being taken away by technology. Soylent Green, you know what I'm talking about, Josh? I mean, I don't know. Am I speaking out of turn? Does anybody? Am I the oldest one here? Oh my god!
No. But the message has always, you know what I mean.
It's always been there. And so a lot of what I read, a lot of it, all the message was there. So I really like when this series came out, it really resonated with me because it was a continuation of my life story, what I've been reading and seeing and doing. And so I like it. And I just think he's brilliant. I do. And I look forward to doing more. I wish everybody well. It's going to be a little while, but you know, if you love Black Mirror, hold out. We'll be back. I can't tell you exactly when, but we will be back with more of this. And yes, I am Ayn Rand too. I always, you know, you and I, we probably read all the same books, and so it's almost like we were in a parallel, like walking the same road. Like, you know, I get it. We have a lot of the same things in common. So you at least know exactly what I'm speaking on about how Charlie does that for us and how we love to take those layers apart, as he has it in there in some way, and he makes it fun and entertaining, and he's a damn good writer. He's a damn good writer. He gets good directors, his cinematographers. He gets some of the, you may not know the names and everything, but he gets some of the best. The work that they are doing in cinematography is freaking fantastic. The way they tie it into the story and the way they do it. It's the whole thing, you know, the whole thing together, you know, and I have to, you know, I'm a fan. I'm talking like a fan. I'm definitely a friggin' fan. But on that, I'm going to keep it up. Thank you again, Josh, for being so gracious. And I'm glad you like it as much as me. I look forward to talking. After with all the shit that we brought up. I'm going to have conversations for the next week on this. I can just feel it, like everybody I talk to, because it just opens up a whole thing of interpersonal sexual dynamics and gender roles and the social it's like all there. It's one hot mess, and I look forward to working it out all week. So on that, all of you have a good night. Thank you for being here. My mods, thank you so much. You all rock. I couldn't do this up here and be as free and not pay attention, if you weren't, and you do such a great job. And I appreciate every single one of you. And everybody who came in the chat to listen after this has been away for so long. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your patience. And I hope you'll be a little more patient. We will be back with it. And I really appreciate you all, because I can't be here without you. So thanks for lending me your ear and your time, and have a great night. I will be back tomorrow with some gruesome true crime and legal with Jay on my channel, 7 o'clock. If you want to indulge, it's a good one. All right. We'll see you later. Good night, Jay. I'm going to say, Josh, I'm going to say good night, but I'm really not going to say good night.
No.
Like, let's be real. I mean, the bear might be talking his ear off in about 45 minutes, right? He's probably.
Yeah, that's all good. I don't mind you talking my ear off. I'll probably take your ear off too.
I was so anyway, Discord stream after party, everybody. See you later. Okay. All right. Have a good night. Have a good night.
Bye, everyone.